I consider British filmmaking as an iceberg.
You have Alfred Hitchcock on the top layer. Other filmmakers on the top layer include
Christopher Nolan,
Ridley Scott, Sam Mendes,
and the topic of today's video, Edgar Wright.
Now, if you're somehow not aware of Edgar Wright, I shall give you a small enough nutshell of this brilliant titan of British cinema.
Edgar Howard Wright was born on the 18th of April 1974 in Paul, Dorset, but moved to Wales as a young child. Before directing classics, he began as an indie filmmaker making films with a close-knit community of friends. The main ones include:
the first clip was supposed to be a film named I Want to Get Into the Movies, but the video was privated before I could grab it. RIP. Help was released in 1992.
Hello? Is there anybody there?
Infrared Fred released in 1993.
Right, that should do it. Let's try it now then. Hey?
And Dead Right released the same year as Infrared Fred.
Wright was a humble indie filmmaker. A true indie filmmaker. No, a 24 type indie. No shade, by the way. It wasn't truly until, well, sort of, when his own comedic take on A Fistful of Dollars, hilariously titled A Fistful of Fingers, which actually garnered a significant amount of positive attention, most famously by Roger Ebert.com.
A year later, he directed PI Little Britain David Walliams and future collaborator
Simon Pegg led sitcom named Asylum in 1996. Fun fact, this is a rare case of a British comedy not releasing on DVD. Yes, that's true. Not even a company like Network has released one for this show. But it wasn't truly until Spaced, which is a brilliant show by the way, when both Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg. It also included future collaborator Nick Frost.
And as it is a video on a British filmmaker who made comedy for a while, I thought that reminded me of a certain brass Jamie Morris man.
The show stars Mark Heap, known for playing Jim in Friday Night Dinner, and of course, the poor bugger who witnessed multiple deaths via lifts in Chris Morris Told You Jam Hee Hee.
Right, Arthur.
And to you, Mr. Nichols.
Could you put those in the first for us?
Yes, no problem.
Wife's flu cleared up?
Well, she's not quite fully, but you know, not too
I'll see you tomorrow.
bad. Yes. Have a good evening.
Night, Arthur.
Night.
See you at 6.
Yes.
3 years after Spaced, he debuted one of the best British movies and best movies in general, Frost, Pegg and Wright, the bloody brilliant Three Amigos. 3 years later, in 2007, he released the second of the Cornetto trilogy Hot Fuzz, The Return of the Three Amigos. Another one of my personal favorites, a little secret for you, my second favorite comedy film behind For Lions. 3 years later, he released Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, an adaptation of the comic series. It is such a Wright man. I love Scott Pilgrim so fucking much. 3 years later, starting to see a bit of a pattern, Wright released the weakest although still good entry of the Cornetto trilogy, At World's End. Good film, but can't be compared to the two masterpieces. 4 years later, end of pattern I see, Wright released Baby Driver, which unfortunately starred Kevin Spacey. The allegations are a bit hard to put into words, so I made a little presentation like what I did in the My Little Pony Come Jar video. Watch that. That shit flopped bad, probably due to the name, but MVH whatever. Four years later, he would release a documentary about the band Sparks, one of the most influential bands. As the tagline suggests, your favorite band's favorite band.
The same year, he released the criminally underrated horror film Last Night in Soho with Anya Taylor-Joy and Matt Smith, most well known for Morbius' Sorry Doctor Who Fancy He.
He is currently working on a new adaptation of Stephen King's novel, The Running Man. Although not based on the Cheese Fest, which was the 1987 film, Wright's adaptation already has an A-list cast and is set to release at the latter half of next year.
I know I promised a quick history of Edgar Wright, but I have to be completely honest.
I didn't keep my promise. I'm sore.
Okay, I lied. There is 2 you can't watch, but I thought one sounds better than 2. So here is a quick summary of the first of 2. Edgar Wright made a film based on Rolf Harris, but I have to give a actually sort of community note thing. This was about 26 years before he was exposed as a pedophile. At the time of the film's production, quote, unquote, no one knew of his crimes against young girls.
The only real info we know about the short is that it was produced when Edgar Wright was only 14, so around 1988 to 89, so this is early Wright. I'm sure Harris would have loved this film for his ego and the director's age. The film was titled Rolf Harris Saves the World. From what? I am sure Wright has probably banned every copy of this ever made due to the very disturbing truth of Rolf, and I think that is actually good. I am not for destroying films, but this is one I think deserves to be Thanos snapped out of existence. Oh baby, it's the main event. Here we go. Carbolic Soap is a mildly antiseptic soap. Just joking, laugh. Now. In all seriousness, Carbolic Soap is a 60-minute parody of superhero films. The film was written, produced and directed by Wright in 1992. It was filmed with a camcorder won via an entry into a film contest.
Is no stranger to making videos or to Saturday morning TV. Edgar Wright, with his partner in crime, Martin Curtis. Hi.
Hello.
Now, Edgar, why have you been on TV before then?
Well, I made an animated film about disabled people, which won the first prize on going live on the Comic Relief competition.
Right, what did you win?
I won a camcorder, which came in useful.
Aha, well, very useful because...
Because I used it to make the film that we're going to see today.
Right, what's the theme, quickly?
It's about a person who's being followed.
Right, and that person is actually you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you ready to see yourself on the TV in front of millions of people?
I think so.
What's it called?
Help.
Help!
The insane fact about the short is that it was made when Wright was only 17. What were you doing at 17? Watching this? God, just joking, as of this video's editing. The synopsis is currently unknown. No footage or even stills exist. Nothing does, except a poster.
This poster is absolutely awesome. It is just so homely in my opinion. But let's stop glazing and look into what is on the poster.
The film poster lists many names. Martin Curtis, of whom was that guy with the most 90s hair in the video. Lucy Tilbury, Melissa Burden, John Knowles, Dominic McKenzie, and Amy Bowles. Fox Akimbo, of whom made an amazing video on this topic, pointed out these people are really hard. An ounce of presence of these people is finding a needle in a haystack, really.
Length film, if you want to call it that. It was 60 minutes and it had a cast of at least 7 people, those being Martin Curtis, John Knowles, Lucy Tilbury, Dominic McKenzie, Melissa Burden, Amy Bowles and Graham Lowe, who actually might be best known for going on to play the human statue in Hot Fuzz. The two go way back. I did some research into these actors to try and find out some information, maybe find them on social media and hit them up with a message, and my search was fruitless. These people are ghosts online. The film was also reviewed by numerous people as shown on the poster. Obviously these are very...
My favourite things are the cheeky little reviews. It's better than your mum, says Graham Lowe. I laughed and laughed, then the film started, says Simon Groom. The best film since Klingfil, says you more, or Limal. I honestly have no idea how to pronounce that.
Makes JFK look like the BFG, says Mike Morris. Graham is enthralling, but not in the film, says Harold Meeker. It is quite simply the best film I've seen. In fact, it's the only ones I've seen, says Leo Sayer.
It mentions it was screened at Kenyon Hall, which I presume is around here.
It was set to debut on Tuesday, the 12th of May 1992. Let's read some of the little bubbles.
Approximate length of the program 90 minutes film plus supporting film. Copies of the film will be on sale for £7.50 in the foyer. The charge for entry will be 100 volts. There will be an admission price for 50p. And if you don't come, we'll start crying and sulk.
VHS tapes do in fact exist, but are in scarce numbers. Dead Right was sold in a limited amount, with only 300 copies existing.
As per my calculations, and of the current day of the 23rd of October 2024, for one single Carbolic Soap VHS, which goes for an average of £1,040, you could buy
X484 nearly for 85. Freddos. I would pick both. I want both. My old school pal found a poster that I drew for one of my amateur films I directed on Video 8 and VHS. It was 60 minutes long and my early 1992 contribution to the superhero genre. Check out this flyer for Carbolic Soap. Thanks to Marjorie for digging it up. The photo linked below was the one I've already shown. And that was the video. Thanks for watching.